Það fallegur vetrardagur á Hvammstanga þegar við heimsækjum listakonuna Gretu Klokk á vinnustofuna hennar. Greta hefur vakið athygli með brúðuleikhúsinu sínu Handbendi en hún býr til brúðurnar sjálf og setur upp metnaðarfullar sýningar ásamt öðru listafólki úr heimabyggð og erlendis frá. Greta alin upp í Vermont í Bandaríkjónum þar sem hún heillaðist fyrst af þessu listformi. Þar kynntist hún fagmönnum í brúðugerð sem leyfðu henni að fylgjast með vinnu sinni.
For me, seeing the complexity of their craftsmanship was a really special experience for me as a young teenager. And listening to their passion for storytelling and for this very niche performance art that I hadn't ever thought of before. I'd just kind of taken it for granted. This was something that, kid shows have puppets in them, And that was the start of it for me, really. And then I went off to drama school in the UK and stopped thinking about puppetry for a long time. But as my acting career continued, I started doing more and more performing in more and more children's work. And so puppetry came back in to focus for me as I started working with more puppets. And after a few years of that, of touring all over the place with these, big children's productions and things, I just thought, why don't I just start making it myself? Like, all puppeteers that I've ever met started by just making the decision to make it themselves. They didn't have specialist training. They just were like, okay, I'm going to make some puppets. I'm going to do it.
Were you used to creating things? Like, is it something that's always been a part of you to create things, or was it more that you just needed to do this that you got into it?
I've always been a little bit crafty, but I'm not a very clean artisan. So I never really thought that I would be good enough at doing that kind of thing. Okay. So it was a real leap of faith to kind of go, okay, I'm going to make some puppets, I'm going to put them in a show. I was very confident about the idea of putting a story together and putting it on stage, but the puppets,
yes,
and designing them and making them, that's terrifying.
Fyrir Gretu það mikilvægt að nota náttúruleg og endurnýtt efni í brúðurnar sínar og leikmyndir ef hægt er. Eitt af viðfangsefnum hennar í sögunni Tröll sá veruleiki að við eigum það til að taka náttúrunni og umhverfi okkar sem sjálfsögðum hlut.
How does it start? Do you start with an idea? You are influenced by stories, like Icelandic stories and then Swedish stories as well?
I'm influenced by a lot of stories. I think I just get a little bit fixated on something. Certainly with the show Tröll, the first show that I made living here in Hvammstangi. Mm-hmm. I was fascinated by the folklore and living out here where you have so much fantastic landscape around you to draw on. And just really, for the first time, understanding this idea that, sometimes you're out, maybe you've gone for a walk on the mountain or something and the weather changes like that and suddenly those rocks do look very different and you can really see where folktales come from. Yeah. When you're living in a place where nature is always trying to kill you, you get a real sense of that folklore, and I really wanted to share that. And for me, that show actually started by making this puppet.
Did you have future plans for it, or was it just because you were inspired?
Like there was the London Southbank Centre was looking for Nordic shows, so I vaguely had an idea. Like I put together like a paragraph pitch of a really rough idea of what I wanted the show, what I thought a show could be. Yeah. And then I made this thing, and I love him. And
he's beautiful.
And my favorite thing about him actually is the fish bones and seashells and things that are embedded into him, and fishing net and things.
There are amazing details actually.
He makes me so happy, and he's got such a lovely face. So it started with him, and then the story. I had a really hard time putting the story together for a long time, and it wasn't until I made the girl next to him.
This one.
That I'd been trying to make the story entirely about just trolls, Yeah. And what do trolls do? What are their habits? And then I was just taking a break and just made this little girl, just as a way of, resting my brain and practicing my
doing something
my
else.
wood carving. And I just went, God, of course. It's about a little girl. It's not about a troll at all.
Yeah, the interesting part, I guess, is the interaction between the humans and the trolls.
Yeah, I think so. And the interaction between humans and the natural world.
Greta býður upp á heimsóknir á vinnustofuna, þar sem hún kennir brúðugerð, bæði stutt og lengri námskeið. Mestur tími fer þó í að undirbúa og sýna verkin. Á döfinni meðal annars sýning fyrir smábörn sem heitir Form, en sú sýning ferðast landið og stefnir út fyrir landsteinana í haust. Greta ætlar að róa á ný mið á næstunni með fyrstu sýningu sinni fyrir fullorðna sem verður frumsýnd í október á þessu ári.
Now we've just started making a brand new show for adults.
Okay, so the opposite of the spectrum.
Yeah, and it's a really exciting time because most of my work has been for children.
Yeah.
And so this is a nice departure for me to be able to do something a little bit more dramatic with a bit more depth. And that show is called Sæhjarta.
Sæhjarta.
Yeah, and it's about a fisherwoman living in rural Iceland in the late 1800s.
Okay.
And what she discovers lives in the sea.
Okay.
It's a bit of a psychological thriller.